A pillar of post-war order, the United States and NATO's Supreme Command, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, has been a cornerstone of post-World War II security. The United States has played a central role in NATO since its inception. A key element of this leadership is the position of Supreme Allied Commander Europe, or SACEUR. This role has been held by a U.S. military officer since General Dwight D. Eisenhower's appointment in 1951. The SACEUR is responsible for the overall command of NATO military operations in Europe. This includes planning and executing collective defense operations and deterring potential aggression. The U.S. hold on this position symbolizes its commitment to European security and provides significant influence within the alliance. However, the Trump administration's consideration of relinquishing the SACEUR role sent shockwaves through the alliance. This proposal, driven by a desire to reduce costs and shift defense burdens to European allies, raised serious concerns about the future of U.S. leadership in NATO. Critics argued that such a move would undermine U.S. influence and weaken the alliance's overall effectiveness. Some experts feared it might embolden Russia. The proposal highlighted ongoing tensions over burden sharing within NATO and questions about the U.S. long-term commitment to the alliance. The potential restructuring of U.S. combatant commands, including relinquishing the SACEUR role, was part of a broader effort to streamline the U.S. military. Proponents argued it would save money and improve efficiency, encouraging European allies to take on greater responsibility for their own defense. The Trump administration estimated these changes could save hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Supporters argued that savings could be redirected to other defense priorities, such as modernizing the nuclear arsenal or developing new technologies. Another key rationale was to shift defense responsibilities to European allies. The Trump administration frequently criticized NATO members for not spending enough on defense, arguing that the U.S. was bearing a disproportionate share of the burden. By relinquishing the SACEUR role and potentially consolidating commands, the administration aimed to signal to European allies that they needed to step up their contributions. The hope was that this would lead to increased defense spending by NATO members and a more equitable distribution of responsibilities within the alliance. Beyond the SACEUR role, the Trump administration explored consolidating several U.S. combatant commands. These commands, responsible for different geographic regions, represent the global reach of U.S. military power. The proposed consolidations aimed to streamline operations and reduce costs, but raised concerns about the potential impact on U.S. military effectiveness. One significant proposal involved merging U.S. European Command, EUCOM, and U.S. Africa Command, AFRICOM. This merger, previously attempted but reversed in 2007, would have created a single command responsible for an enormous geographic area. Proponents argued it would improve coordination and reduce redundancy. However, critics countered that the resulting command would be too unwieldy and could dilute focus on both Europe and Africa. Another proposed consolidation targeted U.S. Southern Command, SOUTHCOM, and U.S. Northern Command, NORTHCOM. This merger would have combined responsibility for the Western Hemisphere under a single command. Critics argued that the unique security environments of North and South America required tailored approaches best provided by separate commands. These proposed consolidations, while presented as efficiency measures, were met with skepticism. Critics warned that merging commands could lead to a loss of regional expertise and potentially hinder the U.S. military's ability to respond effectively to crises. Section 4. A weakened alliance, concerns over influence and strategic coherence. The potential restructuring of U.S. military commands, particularly relinquishing the SACEUR role, generated significant concerns among foreign policy experts and within NATO. Critics argued that such a move would diminish U.S. influence within NATO and potentially weaken the alliance's overall deterrence posture. One primary concern was that ceding the SACEUR role would signal a waning U.S. commitment to European security. This could embolden Russia and undermine the credibility of NATO's collective defense guarantees. European allies viewed the potential restructuring as further evidence of a shift away from transatlantic partnerships. Critics highlighted that losing direct command over NATO's military operations in Europe would limit U.S. influence over alliance strategy. This could create friction within NATO, particularly if European priorities diverged from those of the United States. Critics argued that the proposed restructuring risked undermining U.S. global leadership. They warned that a perceived retreat from international commitments could embolden adversaries. The debate underscored the complex trade-offs involved in balancing efficiency with strategic effectiveness. The potential restructuring highlighted ongoing tensions over burden sharing within NATO and questions about the U.S. long-term commitment to the alliance. Section 5. The Uncertain Future, Congressional Oversight, and the Biden Administration. As of 2025, the fate of the proposed restructuring of U.S. military commands remains uncertain. The Trump administration's plans face significant pushback from Congress, particularly from Democrats who argued that the changes would weaken U.S. national security and damage relationships with key allies. Congressional oversight played a crucial role in scrutinizing the proposed restructuring. Lawmakers held hearings, requested detailed analyses from the Pentagon, and expressed their concerns about the potential consequences of the administration's plans. The budget process became a key arena for this debate, with Congress using its power of the purse to influence the administration's decisions. The transition to the Biden administration in 2021 further complicated the picture. President Biden, while expressing a commitment to strengthening alliances and restoring U.S. global leadership, also inherited a range of pressing domestic priorities. The new administration launched a comprehensive review of U.S. defense posture and global commitments, leaving the fate of the proposed restructuring in limbo. The Biden administration faces the challenge of balancing competing demands while crafting a coherent and sustainable national security strategy for a rapidly evolving world.